What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Trade Talk video ahead of round 21. We're into the final month of the AFL Fantasy season for 2023. So that means we've only got 8 trades left. So hopefully you guys have got all your rookies and your mid-price stuff off, and you can just sort of do some luxury trades. But yeah, if you don't, try and get those last ones off. I'm sure the people who still got them have had plenty of carnage because a lot of teams have been hit with a lot of bullets this year. Me first half of the year, but sort of lately, luckily, haven't been. Touch wood that we don't get hit with any more bullets, all of us. So hopefully we can have a good last month of the season. But let's get stuck into the most traded in and out players ahead of this week. It'd be interesting to see. Not too many names probably to speak about. I mean, compared to other videos. But before we do, if you are enjoying the videos, the Trade Talk videos specifically, make sure you leave a like on this video. Click the thumbs up button. Let's get to 50 likes on the Trade Talk video. You guys have been fantastic with the support on the Trade Talk videos this season. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, we are 55 away from 1300. We're on 1245. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so we can hit 1300 before the end of the season. We've got 4 weeks to go, so can we make it happen? Let's hope so. Let's get stuck in. So Josh Dunkley is the most traded in player ahead of this week. 5,000 coach jumping on him. Hopefully, a lot of you guys watched this video last week and jumped on him last week. You would have got obviously that great score from him. But if you didn't, he's a great target still this week. He's got a pretty nice run to finish the year, Josh Dunkley. We know that he's going to be a top sort of 2 forward, potentially even the number 1 forward from here. Who's he got? Yeah, Freo, Crows, Collingwood, St Kilda. I think he'd go pretty nicely in the next month. So I'd be targeting him. He would be one of my top targets. So obviously we'll talk about top 5 targets for the week later on, but he would be in there. Luton Curvis, 3.3 thousand coaches jumping on him. He's the sort of one that if you can get the move on the other side, like if you go like a Windhager, like even if it's not a Windhager, if it's a rookie down to then Curvis and you can make your upgrade on the other end, I like the move. He's playing. He's capable of getting 60s at the moment, a 59 and a 67 in his 2 games. So he's looking pretty good for the Crows. So if you can get him and your upgrade, I like it. He's probably one of the best downgrade, options of the week. Twice. Okay, there we go. Sam Flanders, 3.1k coaches jumping on him. I like it as well. 4 of his last 5 been hundreds. I know he had the dip in CBAs on the weekend, but I think that was more to do with Toot tagging. And we still saw Flanders push up the ground and be like an extra midfielder in around stoppages. And I think he can push that 100 average sort of for the last month and be a pretty good value pick there and push the top 6 numbers. Might even be sort of that number 6 forward based on what he's done the last sort of 5 weeks. So I do like the pick. He's still pretty good value at 7.29. So yeah, I like the pick, especially if you're going like a Caleb Daniel that you want to get rid of down to him. You can do another move on the other side. Dante Vicentini, 2.3k jumping on him. I think again, if you go down to him and you've got enough cover, then that's fine. But I don't see him potentially playing this week, and at best he'll play this week and he'll be out next week. Lysette will be back for Port. Vicentini was just in there to come for the week. He looked all right. He scored a 55, but then again, downgrade option. If it gets you the move, it might be sort of good cover. Sort of if Marshall, if he continues to be sort of rumoured to be out, could be good cover if he plays. So yeah, I don't mind it. Zach Merritt, would be one of my top targets for this week if you don't own him. West Coast and North Melbourne, his next 2. He could go absolutely bananas over the next fortnight. So I'd be making sure you've got at least him and potentially another Essendon midfielder who we'll talk about later on. Josh Kelly, I don't mind the pick as well. 1.8k jumping on him. Got a tougher run to finish the year as well. He's got Sydney this week, Port in Adelaide, Essendon and Carlton. Not the easiest run there, but he's good value, 806. He probably, for the coaches that haven't been burnt by him this year, I think the coaches that brought him in a couple of times aren't going to go there. But he is good value. If going a rookie down and going Mills up, and the best you can get to is a Josh Kelly, I still would rather Josh Kelly over Callum Mills, even with that risk, because we know we've just seen Mills has been terrible lately. So if Kelly's the one you can get, I don't mind the pick. He is value, but obviously does come with some risk. Rory Laird, I like the pick. I did say that, well, I should say love the pick. Not this week. I have flagged on the Fantasy Fanatics podcast on Sunday night. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do wherever you get your podcast and make sure and leave us a 5-star rating review and follow us on Twitter. I think he could get a tag this week. Again, from David Swallow. It's happened the last couple of times he's played Gold Coast. I'd be a bit nervous of that. Brisbane give up some points to midfielders. Sydney, I don't see as too bad of a matchup for Rory Laird, especially Adelaide Oval, and then West Coast Optus is a good matchup there. I'd be getting led for the last 3 weeks. I'd probably wait one more week, but if you've already got like a Merritt, if you've already got a Parish, we'll talk about later on, if you've already got like an LDU, a few of these other value options, I think Laird's a good option to bring in. He's going to be a top 4 mid, I think, for the rest of the year. So, yeah, I like the pick. And he's not too badly priced here at 943k. Brandon Ryan's coming in there for a few coaches, obviously just with the 55 points last week, just downgrade option. Yeah, if that suits your team, that's fine. Hopefully he gets named. Obviously just double check he gets named. But if he gets named, then it's a good pick. Same with Josh Fay as well. Sort of been the sub a few weeks. Didn't play last week. Again, if he's named in the team, then it's a good downgrade. At this point of the year, we're not really looking for cash generators too much anymore. It's more just for cover for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, so it doesn't really matter if they're not going to make too much cash. That's not really what we're trying to maximise as much cash as possible by going down, but also making sure you've got cover on each line in case something happens. LDU, really like the pick. Good value, 1.4k jumping on him. He's looked very, very good the past month. 3 scores over 120 there, and the other one was a 104. He's just looking really, really good. He's got a pretty nice run as well. Melbourne, Essendon, Richmond and Gold Coast. Again, very good value. I like the pick, and he'd be one of my favourite targets for the week if you don't own him. Ethan Stanley, again, same sort of thing. He came on as a sub in both games. Again, if it gets you the upgrade you want and he's named, then that is a viable play. Corey Wagner's been interesting. 1.2k jumping on him. I wouldn't be doing... I know he got a 104 last week, but he's 492. We're wanting to be getting the best players on field at this time of the year. He's not going to be a top 6 defender. I know he put up a good score last week, and maybe Young in the midfield means that there's more opportunity for Wagner back there, but I just wouldn't be doing it unless... Well, there's not... Actually, no, there's no real scenario I can imagine where you'd be doing it. Lockie Whitfield, I can't go there personally. He's burnt me that many times in the past. He did it this year, getting suspended, but to his credit, he's looked very good the past 3 weeks, 300s in a row. Obviously, loves playing the Dogs, 134 and 130 this year. Only 2 scores over 110 have come against the Bulldogs. I don't think he's not going to have it as easy. Sydney Port are red matchups. I know that Cal was saying that on the podcast there. Essendon and Carlton as well aren't necessarily easy either. So pretty tough run to finish for Whitfield. If you're keen, you can jump on. I personally wouldn't be jumping on him. Let's go to the most traded out players. So Callum Mills, yeah, literally nothing more I can say with him. Just trade him. If you've got him, he's got to go. He's just been way too poor. I know he got a 98 last week, so the week before last. He did kick a couple of goals there as well, took a few marks. 58, 71, 92, 85, 64. I know the 64 was from limited game time, but it's funny that besides this game here, he hasn't been like atrocious. He's still got over 70 every game, but when we're talking about a guy like Callum Mills, like the role's not there. He's got to go. He just has to go. Ben Keys, a bit similar. The role's not there for him either now. 4.6k jumping off of him, and I agree. If you haven't jumped off him, I'd be trading him. It's just that, yeah, with Matt Crouch cut back in the side and playing really well, Sean Berg in the team, and obviously Rankin and Rochelle being out. Rochelle will be back this week. Rankin sounds like next week. He's had to play more forward, but still, you just don't know really what that role is going to be. I think next week he might play more midfield to tag at the guy like Lachie Neale, but I'd be trading. He's not going to be a top 6 forward. He's at a pretty good price as well at 750. Well, actually dropped a fair bit last week, dropped 33k. So, but still at a decent enough price. It's not going to cost you too much to get up to one of those big guys. I think it's just over 200 to get to Dunkley, which is a little bit. But if you've already got a Dunkley, there's other options in that 800k range. Even a Sheasel's not too much more expensive than him if that's the best you get to, or even a Flanders is cheaper. So you've got plenty of options for Keys. I'd be trading him out. Campbell Chesser, again, if that's going him down and getting that cash, there's what helps you get the upgrade on the other end. I like that, and I'd be doing that. 3,000 coach are doing that move. Same with a Ryan Marriage, 2.9k jumping off him. Himmelberg's got to go, 2.7k jumping off. I would be jumping off as well. As I mentioned with Whitfield, he's got Sydney, Port, Essendon and Carlton to finish the year. Pretty tough matchups, especially the next 2. So I'd be jumping off him. I know he got the 112, but he followed it up with a 62. So he's just not going to be consistent. So I'd be jumping off if you can. Lachie Neale, 2.6k jumping off. I think you probably can as well. He's at, again, a good price. You can get him to him. There's plenty of midfield targets to look at this week. I think a lot of them will be in my top 5 when I talk about them shortly. High break even. He got tagged last week for a 60. I would get rid of him because he's got those floor scores. He obviously he's got a ceiling, but he hasn't shown that ceiling much this year. He hasn't gone over 130 in any game this year, and he's only had He's only had 3 scores over 120. So I think if you trade him, you're not going to get completely burned by him. I can't see him putting a 150 up on your head. Obviously, he's a great player. We know that he can do that. I don't think the way Brisbane are playing this year and the attention he's going to get, I don't see him going a 150. So I'd be happy to trade and go to, as mentioned, like a Merit, one of these guys, which I'll talk about soon, because plenty of them be midfield targets. Jasper Fletcher, again, same thing. Elijah Hewitt, same thing. Both you can get them down and go up on the other end. I'd be trading both. Obviously, you've got to make sure you've got cover as well, but most coaches have probably got a couple of green dots there, and Hewitt's at a good price at 405. I know he's got a low break even, but again, it's just got to get those upgrades and try and get them as many points on field as possible. Jasper Fletcher, 449, break even a bit higher. I'd rather trade Fletcher over Hewitt if you've got both of them, but yeah, I'd be trading both and getting the cash and getting the points on field. Marcus Windhager, so 2,000 coaches jumping off. So it's interesting because some coaches got him on field, some coaches got him on the bench. If you've got him on the bench, I think it's fair game. Cash him in. You can go, if you go him down to, even if it's a Nankervis, you're making yourself, what's that, 350 odd K? That's a huge amount of coin at this time of the year. If you go into a basement, you're making yourself essentially 400k if you're going down to even like a Brandon Ryan, for example. So I'd be cashing in now. If he's on your field, it depends who you've got on field. If you've got a Himmelberg or a Mills, I'd probably get rid of those two first. But Windhager is probably going to be, if he's on your field, is probably the worst player on there. So I would still look at upgrading. I know he scored a couple of hundreds in the 70, but I'd just try and get the better players on field at this time of the year. So I'd be trading if he's on your field. If he's not your worst issue, and trading if he's on your bench. Angus Sheldrick, yep, can go. Obviously, he's out for the rest of the year, so I'd be trading, cashing him in. He's still at a good price. I'm still surprised so many people got him. I guess it's probably just because coaches just have had that much carnage and he's been on the bench, so they haven't worried about it. But again, you can make yourself over 200k by cashing him in and probably close to 300k. Jonas Mitchell, same thing, cash him in. He can go. Matt Johnson can go. George Wardlaw can go. All cashing him in and can make money. And obviously, Will Ashcroft there is going to be out for the rest of the year, so a few coaches that didn't get rid of him can continue to get rid of him. So pretty sort of simple in terms of the coaches' ins and outs this week, which is good to see. In terms of my top 5 targets for the week, for me, number 1 is Zach Merritt. I think that the fact that he's got West Coast and North Melbourne, his next 2, they're just amazing matchups. I think has he then got the Giants and then Collingwood. Giants he actually doesn't like to play, but still, I'd be getting him in. He's a great target. He'd be my number 1 this week. My number 2 would be Darcy Parish as well. So he's actually all the way down here. So he's only brought in by 761 coaches. So if you're bringing him in, he's going to be unique because there's not a lot of coaches that some. He's had a bit of sort of split opinion. I know Tim was saying on and Luke when me and Tim went on the Ball Boys podcast. If you haven't checked their YouTube channel out as well, by the way, make sure you do Ball Boys Fantasy on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. It's fantastic, great content. Love the lads there, and it was a great chat we had with them on Monday. Luke wasn't sold on Parish. Tim wasn't sold on Parish. Sort of not the fact they weren't sold, they just weren't keen on him. Whereas me and Mitch were quite keen. We had him in our top 3 targets. So 910k, I like the pick. 2 really good matchups in a row. And the thing is, in the remaining games, if anyone's going to get attention, it's going to be Merritt. So he's not going to get any attention in any of these games. I can see him averaging 115 for the remaining 4 games and having some big scores. So I really like him as a pick. So he'd be my number 2. Number 3 would be Josh Dunkley. If you didn't have him, that sort of top 2 forward, potentially top forward for the remainder of the year, just with Taranto sort of a little bit dip in form. Yeah, not really too much else to add with Dunkley. He's just obviously an amazing player, fantastic scorer. Could have been number 1 scorer for the last month because that's how good he is. So he would be my number 3. Number 4 would be LDU for me. I think LDU is great value at 858k. I would be picking him up. He's got pretty good matchups to come. As I said before, he's got Melbourne this week. Then he's got Essendon, Richmond, and Gold Coast. So I think he, again, if you look at it here, does maybe Jimmy Jordan go to him in this game here? Essendon, I don't think anyone's going to run with him. Same with Richmond, and then Gold Coast, they run a Tuke Miller with LDU. I think I'm pretty sure that they did that in this game here. I'm pretty sure that Tuke ran with LDU before Tuke got injured. So a little bit of a flag in round 20 in the final round, but I'd still be getting him in anyway. I think he's great value. 3 scores over 120 last 4, as I mentioned before. So he'd be my number 4. And number 5 would be Rory Laird. Normally, most people, as they know, I'm the Laird man. I'd have him at number 1 if I could, but I'm just a bit worried about that matchup this week. I do think he'll cop attention from either a Swallow or a Tuke. I wouldn't be surprised if Gold Coast run Swallow with Laird and Tuke with Dawson. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So that would be why I'd be a bit cautious with getting Laird this week. But still, I think even if you got him in this week, worst case, he'll give you an 80, I think. He's shown that even when he gets tagged, he gets at least an 80. Like he got tagged against Port by Drew, got an 80. Got tagged against Freo by Aishi, got an 80. Got tagged by Swallow here, he got an 81. North Melbourne didn't get tagged, he just got an 80. But he's been pretty good this year. Like I've been complaining about how sort of underwhelming he's been, but that's more been because he was $1.07 million at the start of the year. But he's only dropped. I'm removing this round 1 squad. I'm not even looking at it. That was a complete anomaly. He's only gone 4 times under 100, and obviously they've all been 80. So yeah, I like him, and I'll be picking him up next week if all goes to plan. So they're my top 5 targets. In terms of my moves I'm making this week, pretty straightforward. I'm just going Windhager down to a Nankervis or a Banks. I think it's going to be Nankervis to save the 50k. Obviously, if Nankervis doesn't get named, I might get Banks just to have some cover. But then I might even just save as much cash as possible, like I said before, and try and get as much money. But it's just I have got a few red dots. A lot of them have got dropped in the last few weeks, so I need to probably get a green dot in for cover. So hopefully Nankervis is the one that I bring in, and then my upgrade will be Mills up to Darcy Parish. That's my trades. I have looked at maybe going a Will Day and Darcy Cameron to like a Flanders and a Wangani Miller, like sort of just doing a double move there. But I think getting Parish in is the better play. I think Will Day against Collingwood will go okay. I think Cameron will go okay as well. And I can maybe upgrade both those guys next week, having over 200k in the bank. So that's what I'm looking at doing. So beautiful. All right, that's it for the video today. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are doing with your trades this week. If you've got any trade questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll answer those before the weekend. I'll get to them when I can. As I said before, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like. It'd be cool to hit 100 likes on a video. I know that we get, more often than not, we get over 700 views on this video. So if 1 in 7 people can like it, that'd be fantastic. So if we can get 100, that'd be fantastic. But I just like, if you just click a like on the video, it does really, really help the channel out. And I appreciate everyone's support all season, which I say on all the video, but I do genuinely mean that. I do appreciate everyone, because I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. So also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, 55 away from 1300, as I mentioned before. If we can hit that goal by the end of the season, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Turn notifications on so that you miss when I go live or upload any other content in the future. And also follow my social media links in the description below. Links to all those are there, and you can keep up to date with everything that's going on with myself and the channel on those. So we're back on Friday with Tim as usual for the Fantasy Fanatics pre-lockout chat. We're joined by some people and answering plenty of questions ahead of round 20. And also Saturday night, watch-alongs are back. I'll be back for the watch-alongs. I can't actually remember what the game is actually this Saturday night. Let's have a quick look. I can't remember, but we'll be doing it, that's for sure, because I'll be going to the Crows game during the day and coming home, and then we'll be doing the watch-along. So it is, what have we got? Hawthorn Collingwood. So we've got Geelong and Port Adelaide is one, and we've got Giants and Sydney. So be interesting. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Giants Sydney just because there's a lot more fantasy relevance in that. Port Adelaide and that sort of butters Rosie Stewart. That's about it. But Giants and Sydney, you got like Cornelio, Kelly, guys like that, like Briggs if people got in Whitfield. There's plenty of Giants players if you've got them. In Sydney, obviously you've got Goulden. If people still got Mills, whatever. So I'll probably be doing that one, but we'll be back. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the watch along. It's been a few weeks, obviously, since we've last done it. So, but yeah, I don't think there'll be one Friday, but I will keep everyone updated. But there'll definitely be one Saturday. So I'll catch you guys then. Have a good rest. Have a good couple of days, and I'll catch you guys on Friday night for the pre-lockout chat. So I'm out. Cheers.